customer shouldn't have to pay for what the manufacturer didn't do. In this case, they didn't make sure that this liquid line for circuit number 2 wasn't touching the coil, but it was. And what did it do? You see that right there? It's leaking. So I'm gonna have to repair this microchannel coil because I don't want the customer to have to pay $2,000 for a coil. So what do I have? I have the microchannel repair kit. I have this filler metal. I have this little brush here. I clean it up, find the leak, then I pull a vacuum, and while I'm pulling a vacuum, I heat that aluminum coil up, and then I melt that filler metal inside. That way I can seal up the leak. I'm going to show you the part number off of that. So if you want to get it, you can. This is the condenser coil microchannel repair kit. Fixing something that I shouldn't have to fix in the field, but I'm glad to be able to do it, and glad that Source One makes a kit so I can do it. So yeah, this liquid line was just rubbing up against this coil. This unit is less than 5 years old, and had we not had this little kit here, we wouldn't be able to repair this coil. Then the customer would be out a couple grand. Instead, it's going to be less than $1,000 to get this thing fixed, back up and running. Very thankful. Also, do not clean your coil with a pressure washer. Bad idea. I'm going to get this fixed, and I'll show you once it's fixed what it looks like. Alright, so got my little cord hooked up to my vacuum pump. Turn the vacuum pump on. You're going to wait. You're going to make sure that it's pulling into a vacuum like it is now. As soon as it starts pulling in a vacuum, you bring your torch over here. Be careful. Always use this oxygen acetylene. Do not use a turbo torch. This aluminum does not take much to get it heated up. So what I do is I get mine ready. See how it just doesn't take much. Oh. Okay, that should be all it took right there. Now, go ahead and turn the vacuum off, cool down the area, then recheck with nitrogen to make sure that there's no leak. That was super simple. It took me literally, what, 2 seconds to fix that leak. You got to make sure that you don't get it too hot. It's aluminum, so it doesn't take much. Use oxygen acetylene. If you don't have a set, get a set, and it's very easy. It's even easier to braze or fix this aluminum coil than it would be a copper coil. Just got to have the right amount of heat. So get that microchannel repair kit. Microchannel coil has been repaired. The reason I'm in here is because it's very loud out there, and I wanted to be able to talk to you about what I did to bypass the Simplicity control board. So bypass the Simplicity control board. The board's going to cost upwards of $500 to get this unit up and running, and the customer needs air. It's 95 degrees. So I was able to wire and bypass that board to make it to run in cooling. And it's going to be just fine for it to work this way, although I like to have the Simplicity control board on here just because you have the various features and functions of that control board, and it's meant for these York units. But I've got this unit repaired, didn't have to buy a new coil, so saved the customer $2,000. And then also the way that I've got it cooling now, I'm just gonna leave it like that probably until the heating, and then we'll probably buy that Simplicity control board. But it gives the customer a little bit of time. You wanna be able to do this, I'm gonna show you how I did it, how I got this unit working. Now the panel's back on, so you won't be able to see where I repaired that coil, but you can get that Source One kit, and I did talk about how to do it. It's very easy, it's not very hard. So if you have the ability to wire using some wire and bypass that Simplicity control board, then you'll be able to get the unit cooling. And sometimes that's what you have to do, especially when you can't get the part as soon as you need it. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right. So again, this is where that coil had to be repaired. You can see nice and cool. Nice and cool. Just finished checking pressures. We had 125 and about 325 for low and high side pressures, 410A. Now, this is our simplicity control board. You can see it's blank there. You see how that screen is blank? There's nothing there. Now you see up here that R and C, that's where I checked voltage. And from R to C, you're supposed to have 24 volts. And guess what? We do have 24 volts, but there's no LED display. The board is not coming on. The board is bad. So how do you know a board's bad? Well, it could be malfunction in different ways, but one way it could be bad is if you have power to it, all the inputs are there, but you have no output. So I'm going to show you how I wired past that board. So briefly, let me explain to you. I need to engage this contactor. This is circuit 1 compressor. This contactor, this is circuit 2 compressor. And then I have my contactor for my fan motor. This is the indoor fan motor. And then this contactor on the end is for both of the outdoor fan motors. So you can see I've connected a wire from the call side of the contactor where I get the call, and then on this contactor, see, I've got a double spade and I've connected a wire there, and then on the one over here I've got a double spade, I've connected a wire there. I've connected a wire from all of these to make sure that I engage those. And how did I do it? I took the yellow call coming from the thermostat and connected it to the M4 coil, which engages the outdoor fan, the M1 and M2 coil for the M1, M2, and then M4 contactors. And this engages now the contactors, the 2 for the circuit number 1, circuit number 2, and then at M4 for the outdoor fan motors. And then this right here, and I'm going to show you that on a schematic, and this right here goes to my M3 contactor, which engages my indoor fan. So real quick, M4 engages these 2 outdoor fans, and they need to come on when the contactors pull in for the compressor. Otherwise, you're going to have high head pressure. This needs to reject heat. And then that M3 contactor, the 3rd one down, engages the indoor fan motor. So, oh wow, a lot of suction there, can't open that. Oh, by the way, if you need to change your filters, there they are. You can actually pull this out and it'll pull that little filter rack out. When I actually wrote the filter sizes on here, that is very nice. And when they were replaced last, isn't that organized? All right, let's take a look at the schematic and I'll talk about the contactors. Let's go over and look at this schematic here. All right, now, you got M1, M2, M3, and M4. M1 and M2 are for the circuit 1, circuit 2 compressor. M3 is for the indoor fan motor. You can see fan right there lines up with 3. And then M4 is for the outdoor fan motor, all right? Now, if you wanted to find this on the simplicity control, it's hard to see it really, but it's right there, all right? That plug right here. I think it says P10, right? And if you look over here, it says P10 right there, okay? That's where that was. Now, let's go down here and I'm gonna show you something here. All right, so you see where it says fan motor 1, fan motor 2, M4. See that? M4. All right, and that right there, that contactor is right here, okay? M4. All right, so we're looking at the low voltage right here when we look at this, the coil. And then when we go over here, we're looking at the high voltage, we're looking at the contacts. M4 is for the outdoor fans. All right, now we're moving on to compressor. Compressor number 1, compressor number 2. And it says M1 for compressor number 1, and then M2 for compressor number 2. You see that there? All right, now let's move on and let's go to M number 3, which is for the indoor fan motor. And that is right here, but they're labeling it, oh no, that's for the combustion fan motor. Okay, indoor fan motor, where is it at? There it is, indoor motor, M3, okay? So that's M3 there, see that? Very easy to read schematics. It's not that hard. Incoming voltage, contactor 1 for circuit number 1 compressor, contactor 2 for circuit number 2 compressor, contactor 3 for the indoor fan motor power, and then contactor number 4 for our 2 outdoor fan motors. And then there's the capacitors for the outdoor fan motors. We don't need capacitors for the compressors because they're 3-phase. They have that extra leg. They don't need the capacitor. All right. So I just want to do a little video, talk about what I did here today. Here's my discharge pressure switch, low pressure switches. These are 24 volts. To check them, put 1 meter lead to the cabinet and then go across from one side to the other, make sure they're closed, or they have 24 volts to each side. Got some 6 amp fuse there. Got another 3 amp fuse in the back here, which I'll show you. Hard to see. Really hard to see. You can see that fuse there, resettable. And I made sure I checked it because I didn't have any power, so definitely want to check that. Can you see it now? Hold on. There. 3 amp fuse. Alright, so that right there is how to bypass the simplicity board and get it working for cooling. I've got a totally separate ignition control board here. I don't like rigging anything. I like to do things right, so I will be replacing that simplicity control board. But that right there is our ignition control board, inducer motor. Common problems I find with these units: fan belt, of course. Oh, hard to pull that loose there. Fan belt, because the fan motor's in there, needs to be tightened. Leaking microchannel coils, that's normal. Blown fuses, if you've got a disconnect that has fuses and you don't have any power incoming. Dropped leg, reversed polarity. If you want to learn more, check out my playlist, HVAC Tips for Technicians. You have been requesting videos for commercial equipment, so today I thought I'd drop a video. Hope you like it. If you do, hit the like button. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and if this video helps, leave me a comment. Tell me it helps. That way I know it helps. Thank you so much to all my viewers and subscribers. I love you. To all my members, thank you so much. You're what makes this content happen. If you want member-only videos, you want me to help you, you want to get my email, my phone number, and me offer diagnostic support, definitely become a level 3 member. You can do that easily by hitting the button beside the subscribe. It's join. Click that button right now. This is Tad reminding you, I'll keep you cool if you let me.